The biggest ni'mat to his nation is the Prophet ﷺ. Islam has given 224,000 nations, let's say. The biggest ni'mat of Allah is his Habib. The biggest ni'mat of Allah is the Prophet ﷺ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the Bani Israel, remember my favors upon you. We have become like that. Because for 1300 years and change, the ni'mat of Allah was still there, we did not forget. That's why we are saying so many of the secrets of the Quran is going to come out for the people of the Akhir Zaman if they were to think and look with the eyes of Allah and the Prophet ﷺ and the heart of the awliya Allah, not with their ego, not with their over-education, not with a swallowing of the Quran to become a Hafiz, you understand? Definitely not with the eyes of a Wahhabi. Then you're going to understand. And you're going to say this book is majestic. It used to be for 1300 years. When we had the ni'mat, what is that ni'mat? We said the greatest ni'mat of Allah is the Holy Prophet ﷺ. But what is the sign, physical sign of the ni'mat? Of the Prophet's ni'mat here on earth is what? Is the Khilafat. Because the Khilafat is the Khilafat of the Prophet ﷺ. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq is saying, I'm representing the Prophet. He is not saying, I'm representing Allah. He is saying, Prophet is representing Allah. And Hazrat Umar is saying, I'm representing Abu Bakr Siddiq. Uthman is saying, Hazrat Ali is saying, I'm representing Umar. It goes on, it goes on, it goes on. Everyone was on this firm handhold. Everyone was on this golden chain. That chain was broken and is made to believe. Now you say, now you can have a direct access to Allah, every one of you. Not only you don't need Khalifa, you really don't need Prophet anymore. You can just make up whatever understanding that you want from the book or from his teachings. You don't need this chain. You don't need Sahaba Kiram, Tabi'in, reaching all the way back. You don't need 1300 years. We are free. Our egos are free. This is the meaning. Our egos are free. Our egos are not chained to 1300 years of righteous rule. Our egos are free to do as we like. Now we're going to use that book and the Sunnah and Islam the way that our egos have always wanted. So the ni'mat, we had that for 1300 years, and that was the Khilafah. Because it's the physical reminder of the one who's representing the Prophet. When you remove that, the ni'mat is removed already. The ni'mat is removed. The greatest favor is removed. So now we become worse than them because we have forgotten the ni'mat. How many people remember? How many people want to remember? How many people want to remember in all, let's say, 73 Muslim nations, let's say? How many are saying, we remember those days where we had a Khalifatullah and every day we're asking Allah to bring it back? How many? Muslim nations today, they are saying, we want the rule of Kafirs to be back on us again. We want the rule of Kafirs who are hating Islam, who has a record of robbing and pillaging and destroying our culture, our traditions, our religion and everything. We want them. You understand? What did all nations try to remember? Once Allah freed them from the rule of their colonial masters, what did they want to remember? Khilafat? No. They went all the way back to their Jahiliyyah. That's what they want to remember. There's pride in the Jahiliyyah. Even in the Hijaz now, there's pride in remembering the past before the Prophet ﷺ. Everything that the Prophet was from the time of the Prophet up to the time of the Ottomans, everything is destroyed. But anything that is pre-Islamic, they make that and they put it on top of their heads. And they make sure everybody goes there to make a ziyarat. Correct or no? In Hijaz. In every Muslim lands too. No one is going back to Iraq. So now, those words, remember my ni'mat to the Bani Israel. As the Prophet ﷺ said, my nation in the Akhir Zaman, they will resemble the Jews and the Christians step by step. Even if they were to go into the hole, they will also follow. Because now it's not about how the Muslims must be different from others, it's how the Muslims must be the same. How the Muslims cannot be different from others. How we are all the same. So, same punishment is going to come. This is not what our Prophet came to teach. And those Wahhabi type scholars that they are so strong in saying there's bid'ah, shirk, haram, and kufr, very strong they're saying it, but they're standing on very weak, doesn't make sense arguments. When they say we want to become more intelligent and get more diplomas, and they go to schools that gives you more diplomas, and they go to these schools, and these schools, they don't listen to Ahl Sunnah scholars, but they listen to the Kafir lecturers, and the Kafir lecturers teaching them about Islam and saying, no, it's like this, like this, like this, and they listen to them. Now, before they are saying everything is haram, kufr, shirk, and bid'ah, now they are becoming professors and doctors and PhDs. Now they say, well, actually even Aqidah is a process. It takes hundreds of years for people to believe in Aqidah properly. Meaning La ilaha illallah. It's just like the Jews and the Christians, it took them hundreds of years. I almost went to Iznik. You might take to Turkey. You went, didn't you? We didn't go, but Javan is making some of our representatives to go. And in Iznik is Nicaea, the ancient city, where first time is convened. It's 313 years after Isa alayhi salam that they came in and they finally decided on basics of Christianity. 300 years. Okay, we believe in this. A few years later, they had another one. So they say Christians have that. The Jews only had that during the time of Islam in Spain. That's why they lost that Maimun guy. His name is Maimun. You don't know? Maimonides. And he's taking everything, looking around from spirituality, tasawwuf and everything, and he's making it like that. Finally, they have some sort of a form. Now, these Wahhabi scholars, they go into very high-class first-tier universities, and they say, same thing. Islam is also. Religion is not perfect. It's evolving. Even Aqidah, to believe in one Allah, is evolving. Definitely, these are scholars of Shaitan. And people who follow them are not going to find safety. Because there's no certainty anymore. They're not looking for people who have certainty. They're not looking for people who have faith. They're looking for people to put more doubt and confusion because that's supposed to be very intellectual and smart. So they can take all of that and you can sink in that. Okay? So, the ni'mat is lost. Holding on, one of the titles of the Prophet ﷺ is that, the firmest handhold. Urwatin wuthqa. You hold on to that. You are weak, we are weak. But you just hold on to something strong, you will become strong. You hold on to that, you'll become strong. But they remove this working of God. They remove all these firm handholds. So now, yes, so bad I cannot make jokes like this. So I'll tell jokes later. So they don't have firm handholds, so they hold on to very wrong ones. That's what's happening. You understand? So they also become jerks. There's no ni'mat. Because only people who understand the ni'mat, the favor of Allah, and when Allah speaks to them softly, they will melt. And when Allah says, remember me and I will remember you, they will melt. Then they will say, who am I that Allah is remembering? That if Allah is saying, so give thanks to me, and the next line is what? And do not? Not listening. When those words are said, then because you're so close, and those words are words of intimacy. People don't want to be intimate with Allah or with the Prophet. They want to be busy with their lives. They don't want Allah and Prophet to interfere into their lives. They become like Christians and Jews. No, please, brother, not too much Islam, please. Let's just have a normal life. So, we are going to be tested. And it looks that we're failing the test. Believers must run away from such people, must run away from such associations, must run away from such worlds and come to your mountaintop, whatever that mountaintop means to you, which means clear air, better view of everything, few people, simple life. Don't think mountaintop also like literally in a mountaintop. There are people who come to this mountaintop. People who are giving promise to us, but they still bring their dirtiness up here. We're saying get rid of it. They cannot get rid of it. They're still in the mountaintop, but they're not behaving like they're in the mountain. They're behaving like in the sewer. That we say, at least now, you're not going to be too comfortable here. They pull themselves up. Good. Stay out. You cannot have hypocrites. You cannot have liars. You understand? So, when we're trying to be believers, we should remember and to give shukr. If you're not around people who give shukr, you will not know what shukr is. If you're around kafirs and people of dunya, that they don't give shukr, you will not know what shukr is. You'll think it's very strange why I have to say thank you. I have to go and get more and more and more and more. My desires must be satisfied because we're around those people. Whether you call yourself Muslims or non-Muslims, it doesn't matter. But if you're around people who give shukr, then you will know that you'll be satisfied with very little. At this dunya, you're satisfied with very little. They give, they don't give, you're okay. It's not a tragedy, yani. Maybe a little bit hot, maybe like this or like that, but it's not a tragedy. You're okay. People of dunya, what they want, they don't get it. A disaster. Disaster. You understand? Huge disaster. Talk about entitlement. Whoa. These ones are saying, we are lords, don't you see? Everything should bow down to us. If you're around people like that, even if you call yourself a believer, you'll never understand what shukr is. You'll never have peace in your heart. Because the ego was not created in peace. The spirit is created in peace. And we're looking to see that and to have that and to hear that from our Lord. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. How many of you are making that zikr? Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Once you understand that little bit, you will look for peace. You're not going to look for what to have, you're going to look for the satisfaction. And you're going to be around the people who have more peace and satisfaction, because that brings you more peace and satisfaction. That brings you more faith. And you want to be around those people. You don't want to be around those people who are not remembering their Lord. They must be the dirtiest people in the world. That they're not saying thank you to their Lord. Dirtiest people. Allah is creating them and they're not saying thank you. And there are billions. Stay away. Be with people who say thank you. And that time your faith will grow. That time you start tasting. You start tasting. Not having, tasting. Astaghfirullah lazim wa atubu ilayh. Be careful. And if you have a shaykh, hold on to him tightly. Don't be stubborn. Look to see. Try to understand. Our shaykh is not a normal one. That you can just meet him once a year and you'll be fine. Our shaykh demands the kind of love and the kind of sacrifice as the Holy Prophet ﷺ commands that from the Sahabi Kiram, and the Sahabi Kiram voluntarily give. Demanding not in the sense that he's saying you must. Demanding meaning that it becomes a nature of you. It becomes a natural part of you. You see, actually my ego doesn't want it. But I have to do it because I've become more of the nature of my spirit. You understand? May Allah make us to be more obedient ones, to be more intelligent ones, to be more patient ones, to become ones who are more thankful and more asking for forgiveness, and stronger ones, not to have any fear in our hearts for anything other than Allah and His Prophet and our Shaykh, the holy ones. We're asking Allah to protect us because we are His weakest ones, but to make us to become strong ones for heart. For the sake of the Holy Prophet, for the sake of Sultan al-Awliya and Sahib Hussain, inshallah, al-Fatiha. Assalamu alaikum.